And welcome back to episode 16 of Who's on Top. I'm your host, Ori, and this week we're going to be drafting an all-time soccer team. I have no doubt I'll be the first one taken, given my long and yet injury-riddled career at the distinguished Columbia High School Soccer Academy. And we also have a special guest this week, but before, let's introduce the three regulars. Waving a controller in one hand and a ping-pong paddle in the other, we have the undisputed quarantine ping-pong champion and Fortnite master, the Frisbo Jacob Kazin.
What's up, guys?
Flaunting his new fresh cut, we have the D&D expert and all-state fencer, Jeremy Giles.
It's a pleasure to see y'all.
And last of the regulars, we have the new Chloe Ting workout enthusiast and future possessor of abs, hopefully, the Russian machine, Ellis Gordon.
What's up, guys?
And finally, our very venerable guest hailing from LA, California, the brains behind This Weekend MLS Instagram page, Eli Lesser. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you guys for having me. Love talking football. And I'm excited to do a draft. I'm a big draft guy, so this is awesome.
Yeah, so are we. All right, so before we get down to soccer, Ellis is back with his usual rapid fire segment. Jeremy, this means rapid fire. We don't need your rambling AP Lit essays, but Ellis, take it away.
All right, so we got 4 rapid fire questions for you today. So for our first question, we're going to start off with some basketball. We'll eventually ease our way to soccer. This question, we'll start off with Eli, Ori, Jacob, Jeremy, and our first question is this. Who would win in a best-of-7 series? The Lob City Clippers or the current Clippers roster? Let's start off with Eli as our guest.
I mean, this is a great question for me as I'm actually a diehard Clipper fan. So this is awesome. As much as I want to say Blake Griffin, Chris Paul, and the Lob City guys, I mean, the depth this current Clipper squad has is just unreal. Best team we've ever had. I have to go with them.
All right, Ori?
So as everyone who has played me in 2K13 knows, there's no better team ever than the Lob City Clippers. Blake Griffin literally scores every time, and DeAndre Jordan's still a beast. So I think I have to go with Lob City.
Jacob?
Yeah, in Ori's 2K13, they are a very, very powerful team. But I think in a head-to-head match, I think the current Clippers roster would win. As Eli said, they have a lot of depth. I think there's going to be too much to guard for the Lob City Clippers.
And Jeremy?
I think I'd have to agree with Jacob. The Lob City Clippers obviously were a amazing team, but I think just Fungi Kawhi, we saw what he did last year with Raptors.
Jacob, I'd just like to mention you've walked out of my house several times in disappointment after Jamal Crawford drops 30 on your head. So, maybe you consider your answer there.
Yeah, Ori is quite impossible to beat with the Lob City Clippers. But let's now transition to some soccer questions. Let's start with the classic, Messi or Ronaldo. We'll start this time with Jeremy.
Well, I think I have to go Messi. I know he has the most goals ever in the La Liga with 438. I think just how dominant he's been, I'd have to choose Messi.
Jacob?
Yeah, also going to go with Messi here. Even though some might consider Ronaldo better, I think just Messi's leading in goals just proves him to be the best ever.
Ori?
So I think that in terms of goal scoring, no one can beat the abs and Ronaldo. I think he also has the hair, Ellis. I know you're very proud of that. You're trying to emulate. I think Messi's a better all-around player, though. The assist numbers just don't add up with Ronaldo, so I'm going to have to go with Messi as well.
And Eli?
I kind of want to let my draft pick reveal that choice for me, assuming both fall to me. I don't know if they will.
So Eli's going to save that later for the draft. Personally, I'm going to go with Messi as the better all-around player, as Ori said. But Ronaldo, I think, is the more lethal goal scorer. And so for our third question, we're going to go MLS rosters. Would you rather have Wayne Rooney and Zlatan Ibrahimovic on your MLS roster or Thierry Henry and David Beckham? And we're going to go with the expert on MLS, Eli.
If we're looking at how they played in MLS, you can't go against Zlatan Ibrahimovic. I think he was the most dominant of the European stars to come to MLS, so I think that's a no-brainer. Also, Wayne Rooney had that very famous cross that he had at the end of a match where it was 3-3, hustled all the way down. I mean, that heart he showed there was awesome. David Beckham and Henry, I think, meant more in terms of the growth of the league, and their signings were more important. In terms of who I want on my team to win me a game, I got to go with Zlatan and Wayne Rooney.
Let's go with Jacob. All the guys here, other than Eli, actually saw Wayne Rooney play at a Red Bulls game we all went to together, and he was really good. So, Jacob?
Yeah. As Ella said, Wayne Rooney, he dominated when he came to play against the Red Bulls, and I love Zlatan. Great name, and he has that powerful right foot, and I love his finishing skills, and I think Rooney and Zlatan would be much better.
Let's go with Jeremy.
I know that Zlatan in our friend group has always kind of had a good aura. He's one of probably the most arrogant people of all time in the best way possible. I'd feel very wrong picking against Zlatan.
And Ori.
So as Ellis said, we all went to the Red Bulls game where they played Wayne Rooney, and he was on a different level. They also pulled down a bald eagle sign in front of him, which I thought was hilarious. All the Red Bulls fans, and given my current state of hair, I think I got to go with the bald eagle here.
And our last question, this one's going to be just directed towards Eli as the MLS expert. So who do you think are the favorites to win the MLS Cup this year, hoping that MLS season does come back for after Corona?
You guys might not want to hear this one, but I do think NYCFC is one of the favorites. I think they have probably the most balanced roster. I can't go against LAFC's roster as well. And then my sleeper team, I'm going to say Sporting Kansas City. Based on the way they played in those first two matches before the season got suspended, they've had a history of being a pretty decent team. I don't necessarily think they will win it all, but if I'm going to pick a sleeper, it's going to be them.
Good picks. And Ori, would you like to take it away from here?
Thanks for that segment, Ellis. It was way better than your haircut. Again, most things are. So with that out of the way, let's move on to the draft. We already established a snake order. I think it's going to be Ellis, Jacob, Eli, Jeremy, and then reverse on the way back. We're going to be playing a 4-3-3, 4 defenders, 3 midfielders, 3 strikers, of course, a goalie and a coach. Ellis, you're up here. First pick. Who are you taking?
Yeah, so we talked about him a little bit in our rapid fire segment, and I said overall round player, he is the best. And I think for soccer, he is the best player ever. One scored 92 goals in a calendar year, a record not even close to being touched. That is the Lionel Messi, best player of all time in my opinion. So yeah, that'll be my striker in the first pick.
Yeah, I don't think you can go wrong with that in any way.
As Ellis did take, in my opinion, the best player. So what I'm gonna take the second. He plays for my favorite team in FIFA, Juventus. Sorry, Eli, you're not gonna get the option to have him. I'm gonna take Cristiano Ronaldo.
I was actually going to take Messi. I'm a big Messi guy. So I'm going to take it way back, and I'm going to go Pele as my attacking midfielder.
Yeah, I mean, playing in the streets of Brazil, I actually saw the movie about his life. It's just incredible. Before the modern era, considered the best player by a huge margin, amazing in international play. Also just a great pick. Jeremy, you got two picks here. Who are you taking?
All right. Well, I think my first pick, I'd be wrong to take the best player who is not a striker left, Diego Maradona. I don't think I can go wrong there.
Again, Jeremy has a history of controversial picks in terms of character, and Maradona is definitely controversial. Ellis, if you want to tell a little story about him, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, just before Corona in the Argentinian league where he coaches, he had his his assistant coaches cover the cameras so that Maradona could take some in-game what we assume is cocaine. So Jeremy does love his players that have drug problems with our NBA all-time draft we realized. So this fits perfectly with Jeremy.
Look, Maradona gets the job done. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, that's true. Even with his hands, sometimes.
So with my next pick, I am going to take Franz Beckenbauer.
All right, Eli, you're back here. Who are you taking?
You know, I almost want to keep it in Brazil for this one. And I'm going to take Ronaldo, the Brazilian Ronaldo, not
the Brazilian Ronaldo.
Yeah.
He also had that infamous haircut back in the day, but just one of the most dominant players over time. Again, 2 Brazilians with great chemistry, country that produces so many amazing stars. Jacob, who are you taking here?
Yeah, so I'm going to try to solidify my defense. First, I'm going to focus on the right side. I'm going to take another Brazilian. He won 2 Serie A titles and a Champions League as well. I'm going to take Cafu.
Who was just one of the greatest, incredible in terms of consistency with the Brazilian team. Ellis, you got 2 picks here. Who are you taking?
So with my first pick, I believe I have the attacking GOAT in Messi. So I'm going to take the goalkeeping GOAT in what I consider is Buffon. Has 1,719 saves, 22 seasons in his belt. Pretty much has the perfect resume other than a Champions League. We can forget that. Won the world best goalkeeper 5 times and has the World Cup in 2006. So that solidifies in what my opinion is the best goalkeeper in the draft. And now I have Messi, but Messi doesn't really need someone to get the ball to, but it will be nice for someone to get the ball to him. So I'm going to take a world-renowned passer and player. Really was the master of tiki-taka under Guardiola and the Messi team. So they already have the chemistry built in Xavi.
Yeah, I mean, known as one of the best assist leaders of all time. He really revolutionized the game under Pep. And Ellis, who has Pep now? That's kind of interesting.
Man City.
Just an amazing player, and I think he has such incredible chemistry with Messi.
I know you have a real bond with Pep due to both of your lack of hair. So
Hey, all right, Jacob, you got another pick here. Who are you taking?
Yeah, so with Ellis really solidifying his attack, I think I want to solidify my defense there. I'm going to take one of the best tacklers in history, one of the best Italian defenders ever, Franco Baresi.
Known as one of the best tacklers in football, probably the best Italian defender of all time, and really carried Milan through that golden age of soccer that they had back in the time. Eli, you up here? Who you taking?
I'm going to take a different Italian center back. You scared me with that pick because I was going to take him as well, but I'll go with Paolo Maldini.
Really strong pick to solidify kind of that back line there. I don't think you can go wrong, especially with such a strong attack with Pele and Ronaldo up front. Jeremy, you got 2 picks. Who are you taking?
My first pick, I am going to take a 14-year veteran for Bayern Munich, Gerd Muller. I may not be saying that right, but
No, you're saying it right. Don't worry. As the German
an absolute-
pronunciation expert, Jeremy, he's not related to Thomas Müller. I know you asked that, but incredible player. Played a long time ago, but he scored 566 goals in 607 appearances, which is just an incredible rate. For all you non-soccer fans out there, it's really hard to maintain even close to a goal a game production. That's considered historic. So having that many goals in so many appearances, it's just incredible to see. One of the best German players out there.
So with my next pick, I know the best goalie of all time, Gianluigi Buffon, is already taken, who unfortunately, as much as I want to, I cannot have him. So I will have to settle with the second best of all time, Lev Yashin. Great modern goalkeeper. He was the best goalkeeper of the 20th century, and he will not allow goals for my team.
That is what a goalkeeper does, Jeremy.
Thank you.
Only goalie ever to win the Ballon d'Or, so that just tells you what kind of player he must have been. All right, Eli, who are you taking here?
I feel pressured to take my goalkeeper pick now. I'm surprised he actually wasn't taken yet, so I'm grateful for that. So we all know Kasper Schmeichel is a great player for Leicester City, but it's a shame that he is not the best goalkeeper in his family. I got to go with his father, Peter Schmeichel.
Man United, love Peter Schmeichel.
Yeah, I mean, 2-time goalie of the year, 5 titles, 1 Champions League. Michael currently is one of my favorite players to watch, especially when he's playing with Denmark. But his father was really known for excellence, and I think that kind of carried down from the family. So, Jacob, speaking of you, you're on to here. Who are you taking?
My next pick, I'm going to be continuing a trend of Man United players. Ellis, get hyped. He's the current coach for the Wales national team, coaching Gareth Bale. If I am correct. Ryan Giggs.
Yes. Man United is Mr. Reliable. So with my first pick, he really captained that Netherlands Golden Age team, what they called at that point total football. Also has a turn named after him called the Cruyff turn. On top of that, after the end of his career, he was an amazing coach, so only adds to his legacy. Won the 1974 FIFA World Cup and Golden Ball at the tournament, won 8 Eredivisie titles, 1 Intercontinental Cup and 3 European Cups, and then transferred to Barcelona after his time in Ajax, and then won La Liga. So really accomplished player, will solidify my midfield alongside Xavi. That is Johan Cruyff.
Just an incredible player. Cruyff turn is actually still using incredibly profusely in all of the games that I've seen. I've seen both Jacob, Jeremy, and Ellis all fall when I commit this turn on the soccer pitch. I'm sure Eli would stand a better chance than them, but we'll see.
Okay, so with my second pick, so the way I want to set up my team is to have 2 center backs and a center defensive mid, 2 center mid, center attacking mid. So what I'm going to do is get a center defensive mid right now with what I thought is the best center defensive mid, the German Lothar, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, to be honest, Matthias. 5 World Cup campaigns, and that's a record with 25 World Cup appearances. That's also a record.
That was my next pick.
7 Bundesliga titles, 3 German Cups, a Serie A title. So, yeah, he's going to help me with my center defensive mid, and I'm really happy with my midfield now. I'm really solidifying it to help Messi and Buffon.
Jacob, who are you taking here?
Yeah, so with my next pick, I think I'm gonna leave Ronaldo by himself for now at striker. I'm gonna focus more on midfield. Kind of surprised that he dropped to me because I think he's one of the best players. He won FIFA World Player of the Year 3 different times, and he won the 1998 Ballon d'Or. Zinedine Zidane.
That was my next pick as well.
Highway robbery for
Yeah.
again.
an incredible player and pretty good manager. Kind of a spotty record, but he's getting the job done already.
Not spotty record in terms of Champions Leagues though, where he won 3 in a row. So I mean,
Yeah,
there's
but
that.
in terms of La Liga, it's not that impressive. But especially for a guy of his caliber, definitely in terms of Champions League,
Yeah.
most impressive. First time. Eli, after getting your 2 previous picks stolen, who are you taking here?
You know, I'm going to play it safe here, and I'm going to go with my personal favorite defender of all time. He is a 6-time UEFA Team of the Year player. I'm going to go with Carles Puyol of Barcelona, a Barcelona legend.
Yeah, he was known for that time in Barcelona. Incredible defender, but also had some versatility in terms of attacking up the field. I think a really solid pick there.
Also part of that tiki-taka kind of legend with Xavi, Iniesta, and Messi.
Jeremy, I believe you have 2 picks here.
So for me, with my first pick, this is one of the best Dutch players of all time. He has won 5 Dutch league titles, 3 Dutch Cups, 2 Series A titles. I am picking Frank Rijkaard.
Are you sure you're pronouncing that right, or do you want to take a second shot?
I am not sure I'm pronouncing that right, but I also do not want to take a second shot.
Ellis, do you want to try it?
Don't put me on the spot like that, Frank Rijkaard. No. Dutch names are not my.
Regardless of how you pronounce his name, he is known for being one of the best Dutch players of all time. Definitely up there in the pantheon. He killed it in AC Milan, but also in terms of international play with the Dutch team, was also just an incredible guy. Jeremy, you got a second pick here. Who are you taking?
So who I'm picking is one of the best players from Brazil. He played famously with Pele on those amazing teams. He's played in 4 World Cups from 1954, 1968, 62, and 66. I am going to take the right back, Djalma Santos. And once again, I would not like a second shot in pronouncing that name correctly.
You seem to be having some difficulty with the J names. But yeah, again, solidified his legacy with that Brazil team that was so dominant for that time. 3 FIFA World Cup all teams and more than 1,000 professional appearances, which is just a testament to how he was just such a prodigious Iron Man over his era. Eli, who are you taking here?
You know, heading into this, my plan wasn't to take an all-Brazil attack, but, you know, I'm just like, I'm going to do it now. So I'm taking Ronaldinho, 2005 Ballon d'Or winner. He's won almost every title. He's an excellent player. I don't think I really need to defend this pick here.
Yeah, no, really good.
No, you definitely don't. Just one of the most exciting players to watch as well. His technical skills are just ridiculous. No look passes, and I think he also had that one goal where he was standing outside the box and he didn't move. He just stood and kicked it and it went top left. I mean, not much to say. Just an incredible guy in terms of street skills on the pitch. So really exciting to see. All right, Jacob, you got a pick here.
Yeah, Ronaldo's looking a little lonely up in the attack. I'm going to fill that hole right there. I'm going to take one of the most proficient and efficient goal scorers. Definitely going to butcher his name, but he scored 733 goals in 745 matches. Ellis, help me out here. I know you know who it is.
Eusebio.
Eusebio.
If that's wow, these names are difficult.
He was not only known for his play in terms of his club play, but also he scored 41 goals in 64 appearances for Portugal. One of the best Portuguese players, of course, before Ronaldo. And he's nicknamed the Black Panther, which
got that Portuguese attack.
Has definitely aged well. Jacob, yeah, you definitely have some Portuguese attack. Ellis, speaking of Portugal, I heard you took a Euro test. Any Portugal on there?
Nah, not on there. But right now, I'm going to transition from Portugal back to the Netherlands. I already got Johan Cruyff, so let's give him a buddy up there. I'm going to solidify my striker position with a real bruiser up front. Won the Ballon d'Or in 1988 and 1989, as well as FIFA World Player of the Year and the Ballon d'Or again in 1992. Marco van Basten.
He's known as a bruiser, Ellis?
Yeah, big boy up front.
A bit like Jeremy?
Bit like Jeremy, exactly.
Yes, me and my 5'3" self.
So I'll be honest with you guys. I want another striker here. And I've been debating between Puskás and Thierry Henry to play as my cam. But I really like Henry's.
You want to explain what a cam is for non?
Yeah, sorry. Center attacking mid. And Puskás, of course, has the Puskás Award named after him. But I'm not going to pick him. I'm going to pick Thierry Henry. Not only did I get to see him play at the end of his career with the Red Bulls, but he's just such a versatile player. Not only not known for scoring goals, but dribble moves, assists. Really captained the Arsenal team and then went to Barcelona and had a successful stint They're French Player of the Year 5 times. And yeah, and named to the 2006 FIFA World Cup All-Star team. France's record goal scorer. I mean, there's not much to say, as Eli said, about Ronaldinho. There's not much I need to justify this pick. A real quality player to fill out my attack.
I know it's not of much consequence, but in terms of actual managing talent, he's not doing so well. His teams have historically not performed that well under his management. But in terms
we'll see what the impact is.
Yeah. Well, in terms of actual playing, he was one of the most talented French players. And again, we always love seeing, picking players that we've seen in our lives. And I know you're a big Red Bulls fan, and Henry just absolutely destroyed it on the pitch in terms of, playing in New York. Jacob, you got a pick here. Who you taking?
I'm going to focus on my defense here because everyone else's attack seems to be really strong, and I want to get that center line down. I'm going to take – I think I already have one of the best Italian defenders in Baresi. I think I'm going to take the best English defender, Bobby Moore, one of the most aggressive defenders in history, and Pele considers him one of the best defenders in history. So I think he'll be a great addition alongside Baresi.
I mean, I think it's very easy to kind of get wrapped up in all these stats and whatnot, but having a player, one of the best of all time, Pele, saying that you're one of the hardest players to play against, that carries a weight of its own. So I think while you have to consider the statistics, this kind of anecdotal experience is also super important. Eli, who are you taking here?
Maldini is looking alone as the only Italian on there. I want to get him a friend, and I need to fill out my midfield. So I'm going with the player I think has the best vision in football history. I'm going with Andrea Pirlo, deep-lying midfielder. Just the way he sees the game is different than anyone I've ever seen. And although his time in MLS wasn't very good or very entertaining, I had to pick someone who's been in MLS, and he's won the World Cup, so I got to go with Pirlo.
I mean, and I think he's also – I've watched some of his free kicks, and they're just ridiculous. Jeremy, 2 picks here.
I think my first pick, and once again, I apologize for pronunciation. This player has an award named after him. He has scored 84 goals in 85 international matches for Hungary. My only question is, what happened the match he didn't score a goal? And he has scored 514 goals in 529 matches in Hungarian and Spanish leagues. Essentially, he's an absolute beast. I'm going to take Ferenc Puskás. My next pick, I know I'm known on this podcast for picking players with character concerns. So this player, not only does he have character concerns, but he can be a little bit of a vampire at times. He's known famously for having bit another player during a World Cup. I am going to pick one of the best of all times, Luis Suarez.
Louis, but close
Luis Suarez.
Jeremy, I don't really know what's going on with your trend here. You have a Coke snorter and Luis Suarez on your team. So, I mean, definitely keeping it spicy in the locker room. That's not meant as a euphemism, but yeah, Jeremy, I'm not really sure what you're doing there, but the rest
every time with Jeremy. This man.
Eli, he got a pick.
God.
I'm thinking what problem I want to address in my lineup. But because I can't pick anyone, I'm going to go with another midfielder that played in MLS and a player I think wins this historic debate. And it's the unpopular pick. I'm going Steven Gerrard, not Frank Lampard here. I'm a Stevie G guy. Got to see him live.
Just hope he doesn't slip up in our simulations. I just wanted to talk real quick on Steven Gerrard because I do feel like it is unfortunate that he did have that really bad slip against Chelsea because he really was, as much as like the clown Liverpool, he really was an amazing player for Liverpool, maybe the best Liverpool player ever. Debatably, I would probably say so, but like that slip does a little bit define that, but I mean, there's no taking away from him. Go, Jacob.
Yeah. So with my next pick, so I already have my right back and my 2 center back positions filled. My next pick, I'm gonna take a player that I have seen played and I have used in Bayern Munich, one of the speedier, faster defenders, Philipp Lahm.
A personal favorite. I tried to model my game after him. Ended up being a lot better than him. So there's not much to say on here. But
whatever
again,
you say, buddy.
He was pretty small in stature, but really captained Germany's team. And I think he was just like a great player and really set a tone for his team. He was known for his wild crosses, and I just love watching him play. Ellis, you have taken no defenders. This kind of I think encapsulates your FIFA strategy as well. But what do you think here? You're going to take 2 defenders?
Yeah, I'm going to take 2 defenders. I've kind of have been relaxing on them, but I mean, I have Buffon to save me, and also I think there's still great options left. And I'm going to go with a right back to start off with. And I'm a Man United fanboy, so I'm going to give this one a long intro because when Sir Alex Ferguson came to Man United, he told them about Liverpool he's going to knock them off their effing perch. And how he did that, he got Cantona. He got a bunch of players. But I want their right back. Gary Neville. You may now see him on TV commentating. Not my favorite commentator. A bit biased to Man United, I will admit. Definitely not a good coach. Would not hire him as a manager. But Gary Neville, also with Ryan Giggs as Mr. Reliable for United, 7 Premier League titles, 3 FA Cups, a League Cup, a Champions League. He was a winner. Also was really captain that side during their 1999 treble run and played 565 matches for them. This man has a special place in my heart.
If you haven't noticed, Ellis is definitely a Man United fan, for better or worse.
Oh, and I have a second pick here.
You do.
Forgot for a quick second, sorry, in my passion-induced rant. The best defenders always come out of Italy. Always. It's a fact. And there's been some great Italian defenders coming off one. But here's another good one.
That they couldn't do that during World War II, though.
Ouch.
Again, we have our history portion of the podcast, you've really been quite the host these last couple episodes, really bringing in the history jokes. Anyway, Fabio Cannavaro, he was pretty small, but he was the only defender to win the FIFA World Player of the Year award, 2 Serie A titles, 2 Italian Cups, a UEFA Cup, and 2 La Liga titles. He might have got caught in the match fixing scandal. Probably wasn't him. He also won a World Cup, by the way, and a Ballon d'Or, and defenders barely ever win Ballon d'Ors, so that was pretty good. People say he played the greatest game ever for a defender against Germany in the finals in the World Cup.
So again, an Italian defense might be spotty during wars, but definitely not during soccer matches. I think that's what we have to take from it. Jacob, you got a striker and a midfielder here to fill. Who are you taking?
Yeah, I have a striker, midfielder, and also a goalie position to fill. But I'm going to wait on the goalie because everyone else already has their keeper. So I'm going to take one of the best midfielders. He played with Messi and Barcelona when they were in one of those historic winning streaks. I'm going to take Andres Iniesta.
Oh, very nice. Again, some excellent vision and kind of encapsulated that tiki-taka mentality that Pep brought. Really kind of revolutionized soccer. Always great to have that on your team. The fact that he fell this far is kind of a testament to how talented our board is. But okay, Eli got a midfielder and a defender to take. Who are you taking?
Yeah, so I don't have an Argentine on this roster, and that just feels off to me. So I'm actually going to go with my right back here, and I will be selecting Javier Zanetti, who Inter Milan, not Inter Miami, Inter Milan legend. He won the league title, I believe, 5 years in a row, which is insane. I don't know if they've won the Serie A title since, but he's also won Champions League, and I need someone at that right back spot. I'm going with Zanetti.
A lot of South America on your team, Eli. I'm just starting to notice. Got some Steven Gerrard up there, but a lot of South America. Jeremy, you got 2 picks here. Who are you taking?
I do. So I've already taken 2 defenders. I have my opinion with Beckenbauer, one of the best defenders of all time. Now, this next defender, you all are going to laugh that I'm taking him.
Sergio Ramos. I'm calling it right here.
I don't need to say more. Sergio Ramos.
Speaking of controversy here we go.
Look, he still has 4 La Liga titles, 2 Copa del Reys, 4 FIFA Club World Cups. He's one of the best players of all time.
The most red cards in history, right? Or something like that?
You know what? Somebody has to take it for the team. So with my next pick, I am going to finish up my defense with a left back. He is an Italian. I know we've been showing the Italians a lot of love. He has played 634 games, which, if you think about it, is insane for a career. He has 4 Series A titles. I am taking Giancinto Facchetti.
I think you pronounced that right, Jeremy.
Yay.
Actually, not a very controversial player, but known as more of an attacking defender, which is always nice to have on your roster, especially since compared to others, your attack might be a little bit more lackluster. Of course, you can't really go wrong with Puskás and Suarez up top, but having that extra boost of attack is always nice. Eli, midfielder and defender, who are you taking?
Yeah, so I think I'm going to go with my left back with this spot. and I'm going with a World Cup winner in 2002. I know, like, another Brazilian. I'm not even a Brazil supporter. Have to go with Roberto Carlos here.
You're still my pick now, so we're even.
Yeah, I think he's the best left back available, so I'm going to go with him.
Known for his free kicks and crosses. I believe he had the most insane free kick of all time.
Oh,
the
yeah.
one that I don't think anything really compares to that. If you haven't seen it,
Yeah, honestly,
I don't know
top 10,
how the physics worked on that, but it did. So
top 10 highlight tapes in football, definitely.
Definitely. Jacob got goalie and striker. Who are you taking?
Yeah, so for that striker position, if I could, I would take Saquon Barkley and put him in there because he can do it all.
Jesus.
Okay.
I had to do it. I had to do
Oh
it.
my God.
No, wait, hold up.
No, you did not have to do
Let's
it.
discuss this for a quick second. There's no need to do Saquon Barkley in every single episode just because you simp for him on Twitter. Jesus, man.
Yes.
All right, but seriously, I'm gonna fill out the rest of my striker position. Another Brazilian player I'm gonna put on my team, and another player for Barcelona, Rivaldo.
He won the 1998-1999 La Liga. Just another part of that pre-Pep dynasty, but just played incredible. He had that He had the bike kick winner.
Rivaldo?
And I think one of the best hat tricks ever. All right, Ellis, you got 2 picks here. Let's finalize up these rosters.
Yeah, so I got to pick defense, and Eli, I guess we're even now because he stole Roberto Carlos for me. So I've had a big debate between Rud Kroll and Nilton Santos, but I saw my team. I got a fast and fluid team with Xavi, Johan Cruyff. So let's add Johan Cruyff's teammate in Rud Kroll. Really great passer from that left side, and again, part of that total football side that really revolutionized football. Also, I like him for his versatility. On top of that, he also was Dutch, so that kind of sticks with. I'm looking at my team now. I got 2 Dutch players. Let's make it a third. Rud Kroll.
Ellis, do you want to explain to our non-soccer listeners what total football is?
Yeah, so total football, it was revolutionized by I always forget the coach's name. Serenos Michels, I'm going with that. It's kind of self-explanatory in the name in that any player can do any position, so it's a very fast-paced, moving football type. Before it was very like football's pretty slow-paced. Defenders were defenders, but Rune Michels really brought listen, a midfielder can go to attack and join. You have to be good at every position.
I think it's kind of more revolutionized the game of football in terms of being more dynamic instead of where the lines before were a lot more static. Everyone was in their position, but a lot more movement and motion, right?
On top of that, it helped Pep Guardiola come up with tiki-taka because without total football, there's no tiki-taka because without you can't do all those passes if you're static. All those tiki-taka relies on movement, which total football emphasizes. So yeah, it was a new style of playing meant by Rud Michels, I believe is the name. I got another pick, and with this pick, I guess I got to go center back because that's the last thing I am waiting for. And with that, I will choose. You know what? I focused on attack this whole time, that I might as well just continue focusing on attack with my center back, with definitely the greatest attacking center back of all time. Maybe not the best defending. We don't worry about that right now. He has 193 league goals in 503 matches. Ronald Koeman, the highest scoring defender in history with 3 Dutch league titles, 1 Spanish Cup and 2 European Cups. And he played for Barcelona after Ajax. And he was also a really good distributor on top of that, racked up a bunch of assists. So I trust Cannavaro to hold it down on the defense while Ronald Koeman ventures up front in my total football style.
Yeah, I think having that kind of more fluid, more flexible type of style is more suited for your team, especially with having Xavi kind of manning the midfield. Always nice to have.
So for my last pick in goalie, to fill the goalie position, I really want to take Neuer, but I think there's a bunch of better options to take here. I'm going to take Gordon Banks, known for quite possibly the best save ever in soccer history against Pelé. And he had an unfortunate end to his career when he was blinded by a car crash. But for his career before that, he was one of the best goalies ever.
Kind of a morbid note there, Jacob. Jeez.
Wait, I want to make sure. Wait. Let's clarify. He didn't die in the car crash.
No, just became blinded.
He just got blinded in one eye, so he couldn't play anymore. But he was fine other than that eye, so he didn't die.
So kind of like how Jacob plays basketball.
I'm better than you.
Let's move on.
Eli, got a midfielder to finalize your roster. Who you taking here?
You know, I wanted to stay on theme with this pick, and I have two themes kind of going on. I got my Brazilians, and I also have two great midfielders who have played in MLS, and I wanted to get a third great midfielder that has played in MLS. I'm going with my boy, Kaká, who has won the Ballon d'Or, and excellent player, one of my favorite players to ever watch, and, got to stay on theme here. I'm going Kaká.
Yeah, we always like picking players that we've actually seen play. And, having an unfortunate name, he is one of the best players in MLS history. So I appreciate that, you can bring some personal history into there as well.
Also happy to be Ori's introduction to soccer, I believe. That was your first player. I remember I feel like I remember that happened. And
yeah,
Ori was fascinated at the young age of 6th grade, so 12, that a player could have a name that meant poop. So
he was actually my first player as well.
Oh, wow.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, coming from Israel, I didn't really we didn't have a lot of, we played a lot of soccer, but I wasn't aware of international soccer. So having kind of a rude awakening there with a guy named Kaká. So it was interesting. I'm also happy because it kind of brought me into this more of the soccer stage.
I should have taken an Israeli international then.
Oh yeah, I mean, they all suck. We won one international game. And
Al Ben Haim, yes.
Yeah. Jeremy, last pick here.
Do you guys know the player I'm gonna pick? I know who he is. He is.
I was taking Zlatan.
I'm not taking Zlatan. I need a midfielder. So he is the current owner of Miami FC. He has played for Man U, Preston North End, Real Madrid, Milan, LA Galaxy, Paris Saint-Germain, and the England national
Great
team.
job reading off Wikipedia.
My point was to read a laundry list of teams. But one of the best players that we have once again seen play, David Beckham.
Love that man. Man United legend with the hair. Oh my God. Also really brought soccer to the main attention in the US, so it has a big role in MLS history.
I mean, he also has an underwear brand, I believe, right?
And a hot wife.
Of course he does.
That
Okay.
definitely goes into consideration here. I can't.
As you can tell me what you want, what you really, really want.
Oh,
Okay.
Funny joke for the day.
Fellas,
Sorry,
every good team needs a coach. And while I had the privilege of playing with Coach Rosado, let's go with more acclaimed international coaches here.
So, with my coach, I should pick Rinus Michels. I really should. I've got the total football down.
Wait. If it's
And-
a snake draft, wouldn't it be my pick for the coach?
No, Jeremy, I'm going first. God damn it, I want my coach. Anyway, no, we're rooting snake rules. I want my coach.
Let him
Actually,
have his coach.
Let him have his
Have your
coach.
if Ori said it's okay, it's okay. I don't know why it's legal, but it's becoming legal now. He already said it.
Sure.
So I should pick Rinus Michels. I mean, we got total football, but
Yeah,
we all
you
know
should.
I can't do that. I gotta pick, in my opinion, the best coach of all time, Sir Alex Ferguson, Man United legend. Saddest day when he retired. Man United have never been the same since. But really amazing locker room spirit. There's been documentaries done about what makes a leader, following in his image. Amazing coach. Honestly, I think the best coach of all time, and maybe debatably best coach in all sports. I would say maybe Bill Belichick is better than him. It's debatable, but
Pat Shermer.
shut up. You did not say Pat. Okay, Sir Alex Ferguson is my coach, and we'll go Jacob now.
So yeah, Ellis did take the best Man U coach of all time because he's got a lot of bit of bias over there, but he did leave me in my opinion the best coach of all time. Coaches the Netherlands national team, Rinus Michels.
As Ellis mentioned, he did kind of start total football, would kind of revolutionize the game, made it a lot less static. So I think it's exciting to see how people like Rivaldo and Ronaldo himself will play with Michels as their coach. But Eli, who are you taking here?
I wanted to stick with a coach that I've seen in my lifetime. I think that was very fair. Someone who's a current coach and someone who I think all his teams have played the most beautiful soccer I've seen. And I'm going with Pep Guardiola.
Yes,
very happy.
Represent. I mean, by Ellis, I know you're going to disagree, but by many measures, the best modern coach in the game of football.
I would say that.
Doesn't matter how many good players he has. Doesn't matter who he's playing with. Always consistently wins. And
No,
you mentioned the tiki-taka style of play.
yeah,
no, definitely an amazing coach. I'm not discrediting him for that.
Jeremy, last pick. Who are you taking?
My coach has actually already been picked in this round as a player. So I don't know how he's going to be both a player and a coach, but he'll figure out a way. I'm going to pick, somehow the second best coach of the Netherlands, which is crazy when you think about it, Johan Cruyff. And I
Oof.
am not saying that right. How do I say that?
Johan
Johan
Cruyff.
Cruyff,
There we go.
who has been a coach for over 20 years. He is one of the best of all time and will lead my team to victory.
After some intense drafting, let's get down to
Sure,
the
that'll
debate. Let's hope Ellis doesn't debate like he did during Model UN. But let's get down. Jeremy, I'm going to give you first take. What's your team name and who are you taking shots at?
So I think my team name is based on Luis Suarez. I am the Biters. I think, as we know, with Suarez and Ramos, it is only right that I call myself a team based off of the Bad Boys, because that's what we are. We will win at any costs. That means hurting you. I'm sorry. Shouldn't have been in the way. But I think I would first like to, or I'll take a little shot at everyone. With Ellis, I think the big problem is that his midfielder is actually my coach. So I don't know how a player's going to play for two sides, but I believe actually when he's coaching, he's going to play for me. So I don't know how this is going to go. But you know what? You live your best life. For Jacob, it's a all-around good team. I can't fight Rines Michels. He's an amazing coach. But I just don't, outside of Ronaldo, I don't see anyone standing out. Eli has a outstanding strikers and outstanding attack, and I don't think you can argue that. But I think the defense, might be a little bit sus. But you know what? They're trying their best.
So I'm going to hop in here with my team name / shots. And my team name is House of Orange with a hint of red. And this is because my team, I realized, is a lot of Dutch players, a lot of total football style, a lot of attacking heart. And House of Red is named after the fabled Sir Alex Ferguson nose. Perfect, just like Rudolph. A real beacon in the light. Shine Man United red for so many years. I miss you. Anyway, let's take my shots. Let's go with Jeremy. Jeremy's main problem, his team's dangerous unless you bring disinfectants for when Luis Suarez starts biting you and breaks skin. After that, his team's pretty tame. They'll get sent off relatively quickly. Puskas is a really good striker, but not accustomed to playing with big boys like my players, Eli's players, and Jacob's players. Yes, Jeremy, go try.
My question would be, I agree that we need to bring disinfectant, but
I'm going to assume Jeremy's on a
what's the problem with that?
The problem is your whole team's going to be sent off if there's an acting ref, which there will be before you say anything. Great goalkeeper in Levi Yashin. Jeremy's defense is actually quite solid, but listen, playing football with 7 players to 8 players is quite hard to do. Maradona is going to be on a high trip all game. Listen, we're going to have better refs than back in the 1980s, and there will be no hand of God, I promise you that. Let's move on to my friend Jacob. When looking at our team in comparison, he's got that Portuguese connection, really good. Listen, though, my midfield passes around and runs laps around his midfield. How is his team going to interact when Ryan Giggs sleeps with Zinedine Zidane's wife? Like, that's going to be a serious problem. And then they're just going to fight. On top of that, yeah, we got Matthias and Cruyff, who are both really fast and can just pass around them. And, Gordon Banks is a good goalie, but let's see how he plays with one eye, as well as his defense, who is kind of on the smaller side. I know that's like calling the kettle black since my defense is pretty small, but Messi's too fat, and Van Basten is going to body them, as well as Messi, who is – I have the best player in all of this draft, and that's saying something because there's a lot of good players. Eli, you're the guest. That doesn't mean I take it easy on you. Really South American flavor on this team, minus the white wonder, Stevie Gerrard. Attack great. Midfield good too, though I don't know if you have a lot of attacking midfielders, but hey, we all have our own style. But let's talk about that defense. And as I always say, Eli has a great defense, but you have to look compared to everyone else. Puyol and Zanetti. Roberto Carlos is too focused on bending his free kicks to get back on defense half the time. Maldini is an amazing player. I'm not going to go on Maldini, but Puyol and Zanetti, I think, are going to be susceptible to Messi and Van Basten, as well as my midfield. Lastly, Buffon is just world class. Peter Schmeichel is also world class. I hate to say this, but he is no Gianluigi Buffon. He doesn't have those steely eyes. You see him all his face red, yelling all over. Listen, Buffon has some mystical approach to him. I got goalie over there, so I got my team for the win.
I have a counterattack on you. If anyone were able to stop Messi here, wouldn't it be his longtime teammate, Puyol?
Yeah, you bring up a good point, but I don't think anyone can stop Messi. So I do
could
see that
stop
point,
Messi.
but Jacob, you can't run a 10-minute mile, much less stop Messi. So let's
That is
pipe
false.
down
That is
a little
100% false.
bit. Jacob,
That
Eli.
is false.
All right, Jacob, why don't you go since I racked you? Why don't you go, Jacob?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Obviously, we all know Jeremy has his character problems on his team. We all know how that's going to end up. He has not won any of our sims so far, and his team is not going to work well together. We just know Suarez is probably going to bite Maradona, and then they're not going to pass each other anymore. And, Eli's team, very strong. Defense is a little weak compared to the other teams. And Ellis, your attack, your midfield, very strong. But your defense is abysmal. You waited until the last 4 rounds of the draft to take your defense. Compared to everyone else's draft, you may have the best and highest powered offense, but defense wins championships, my friend.
Nope, not when you can score 10 goals a game plus have Buffon on the back line.
So, Jeremy, I like your controversial squad. I like the idea behind it.
Don't egg it.
You should have gone the king of controversy. Yeah, he isn't good enough to make any of our lists, but if you want to keep on theme, you should have gone Nigel de Jong.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Oh my. You're not wrong.
We all know what happened in the World Cup. If I were to pick a king of controversy to just push around anyone, kick and scream everywhere, I would have gone Nigel de Jong. Obviously not good enough to make any of these lists. I'm going to knock myself down. I'm kind of regretting taking Gerrard when I took Gerrard. I think there were much better options. I could have even taken Beckham instead. I don't know why that even processed in my head. So I'm knocking myself down for that one. So midfield masters, I think, midfield, arguably the strongest out of all of us here. But I think your attack, aside from Ronaldo, might be the weakest. That's a question mark. And then Ellis. I don't know how many knocks I have on your team. I guess your defense is my biggest knock, but everyone's already touched on that. You said you have the most overpowered offense. I think I do, but that's okay. I think my team will outscore anyone. So
Definitely.
I have the best abs in all of soccer.
That's a fair argument.
I have the best chemistry,
I think Eli's chemistry is on point. That definitely is a factor.
Eli and I both did a great job drafting similar players from similar countries. We both have no chemistry issues.
Much like the Amazon forest under Jair Bolsonaro, Eli's offense and team will dissipate once they feel the scorching heat of Messi, Thierry Henry, and Marco van Basten. That's your second history lesson of the day. Current event, not history. Happening right now. Political activists now. This is Political Activist Podcast.
Oh my
Go
God.
save the Amazon rainforests.
All right. So after hearing all these passions, I think there's some clear winners and some clear losers. I think Ellis's defense, clear loser here. Jacob's attack, other than Ronaldo, not much to say there. Jeremy's knowledge of his players, very low. And I think Eli's defense also needs some work. Seeing all those flaws, I think that I have to put these teams in 2 tiers. I think that Jacob's midfield masters and Eli's Hebrew hammers stack up because there's such a consistent theme and chemistry. Brazil and the Brazilian attack and the strong midfield that Jacob presents, I think both have to go in tier 1.
That's what you
tier
call
2.
the Syracuse people right there.
Yeah, the Syracuties.
Mhm.
Ellis and Jeremy at second tier. Ellis, I liked your attack, and I liked your
Once
striker.
again at the bottom.
Yeah.
At the bottom
Jacob,
again.
you beat me what? This is the second time you beat me out of 5 times. Guess what? That's 60% winning rate.
So we're going to be continuing. I think Jeremy's team, a lack of chemistry and some pugnacious issues in the locker room are going to
I would like to
cause
argue
some issues.
my team, while their chemistry may not be what's generally accepted in today's era, they do all have similar character issues, which would actually make them get together
Jeremy,
better.
Your one main fault to the team that I forgot to harp on is if you're going to draft Maradona, you have to draft his Coke dealer so he remains happy in the locker room. Otherwise, you're going to seem serious. You saw him at the World Cup in 2018 when he was sober. He was wilding. He almost fell off the 5th deck of his locker pitch. That was your main problem, Jeremy.
And Ellis, I think you waited a bit too long in your defense, though I think they're very talented. You definitely have one of the best coaches out there. So I think narrowly puts you in Jeremy on tier 2. Okay, after I've given my opinions, we're probably going to put these in FIFA and simulate them. I'm sure Jacob will find a way. He has a way with his Xbox controller, spending over 18 hours a day on it. Else, you want to take it away?
We recently, thanks to our one and only Jeremy Giles, have our YouTube channel up. Who's on top? I know, shocking name. So check out our YouTube. We already have our first video. We're going to have 2 videos, and hopefully we'll have the FIFA sim on there as well in the upcoming days. Also, as always, subscribe to our podcast in Spotify, Apple, or anywhere you get your podcast. Deezer, I believe it's everywhere but Google Podcasts. So if you have Google Podcasts, tough luck, can listen to our brilliance. Or Buzzsprout, who's on top? Again, I know, shocking. Also, Instagram and Twitter at WOT.PODCAST for our Instagram, and our Twitter is WOTPodcast1. Let's do that again. Let's do the spelling, WOTPODCAST1. Yeah, this proved I can actually spell for all you guys saying I cannot. Yeah, my grammar does suck. That's a whole different issue.
Yes.
Eli, would you like to tell us what you do?
Yeah, follow me on This Week in MLS on Instagram and now on Twitter. I'm trying to become more of a Twitter guy because the sports world runs on Twitter, but I've never been a big Twitter guy, so I'm going to try to become one. And I have merch. It's very nice, and I won't pressure you into buying it, but you should definitely check it out.
Definitely.
And go Orange.
Go Orange.
Yeah.
Hey.
Thanks to Eli, Jacob will not walk into the bad part of town in Syracuse. Eli will be his guardian mentor as Jacob sleeps through class to play Fortnite and in his dorm room. So thanks to him for that.
Don't worry, I'm a good student.
Also, add me on Fortnite This Week in MLS if you want to play.
I will 100% do
Jacob,
that.
I think
Jacob.
Jacob has
100%.
found a new buddy. None of our friend group will play with Jacob as we don't play Fortnite. So Jacob, that just made Jacob's day. Anyway, Eli, thank you so much for joining us. This was a lot of fun. Our next episode will be ranking Michael Jordan's, the teams that lost him in the finals. So tune in for that in about, I want to say next Sunday, but around next Sunday, we will say, have a great week. Stay safe. Stay healthy. Have a great week. Goodbye.